All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Town Hall. We're going to get things going. Today is Monday, March 9. It's 7:30 p.m. We're here for a regularly scheduled Town Council meeting. Our first order of business, as always, is the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. We're joined by the Girl Scouts tonight, so I'm going to invite you all to come on up. We're going to ask that you all lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. All right. Thank you to the Girl Scouts for doing that. Very well done. We do have a proclamation for you. I'm just going to do a few items first. We're going to get right to it. Then you guys can get on your way. We're going to next move to the land acknowledgement statement. The town of South Kingstown pays homage to the indigenous people and land in which the town is now located. Let this acknowledgement serve as a reminder of our ongoing efforts to recognize, honor, reconcile, and partner with the Narragansett tribe whose land and water we benefit from today. Next, we have the roll call.
Council President McEntee.
Here.
Council Vice President Marin.
Here.
Councilmember Bergner. Here. Councilmember Alley.
Here.
Councilmember Wedgemont.
Here.
All members are present.
Thank you. At this time, I'm going to move up communication item 13B, an email dated February 10, 2026 from Melissa M.K. Bousquet, Girl Scouts of South Gansett, requesting a proclamation recognizing March 8 through March 14 as Girl Scout Week. Bousquet, my apologies. And now I'm going to read this proclamation. Whereas Thursday, March 12, 2026 marks the 114th anniversary of Girl Scouts of the United States of America, founded by Juliet Gordon Low in 1912 in Savannah, Georgia. The Girl Scouts of Southeastern New England is one of 111 Girl Scout councils in the United States, serving girls in the greater Rhode Island area. And whereas through Girl Scouting, girls grow in courage, confidence, character, and learn to make the world a better place. And whereas throughout its long and distinguished history, Girl Scouts, the preeminent organization for girls, has inspired millions of girls and women with the highest ideals of character, conduct, and patriotism. And whereas Girl Scouting takes an active role in increasing the interest and skill levels of today's youth in math, science, and technology careers, and to fulfill our country's economic needs. Whereas through participation in community, service, and highest awards, every girl will learn that she can make a change for the better in her community. And whereas the Girl Scout Cookie Sale is the world's largest girl-led business teaching financial literacy to girls of all ages, and whereas the Girl Scouts of Southeastern New England, which serves 3,264 girls in the Rhode Island area, will be celebrating 114 years of an American tradition with more than 1.5 million current Girl Scout members nationwide. Now therefore, we, the Town Council of the Town of South Kingstown, do hereby proclaim the week of March 18 through March 14, 2026 as Girl Scout Week in the town of South Kingstown, and urge our citizens to support Girl Scouts in their endeavors. Now I'm going to invite all the Girl Scouts back up. I'm going to present you this proclamation. We'll do a picture with the council. Thank you.
Motion to approve 13B.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that item passes. We're now going to move up item 13D. Item 13D is an email dated March 2, 2026 from James Cormier concerning a request to recognize South Kingstown EMS Captain Frank Capaldi for his outstanding support and service to the community. Frank, come on up. Chief Craig Stanley, come on up as well. Frank, very happy to be able to acknowledge all your work, so thank you for all of it. And I know Chief Stanley can talk about all the work you've done, so Chief, I want to ask that you just highlight all that Frank has done.
Yeah, Frank has been instrumental in this program, along with the other team, but Frank has really taken a role on this. I get this weekly to myself for the work that he does. He really is defined what this position is. He's really defined what this program is about. The amount of lives that he has touched in this town, this is just the tip of the iceberg. And this is really where we want to go with this program. I couldn't ask any more out of Captain Capaldi for what he's doing. In fact, sometimes I just have to gate him back, and because he's so dedicated to the people. And in his work, in just, treating people and the family, he looks at the whole approach to it, not just the patient, but the family, because everybody's affected. When we have things like this. And also we have examples that, and really the big thing is patients that, would go a month without calling 911, a month without being admitted to the hospital. And directly from Frank's effort of working with the family, working with the patients. And that's what our bill is about. Our proposal in the Senate is that we get reimbursement so we can continue this program. This is the future of EMS. The best call that we can respond to is the one that is not created. And that's done through Captain Capaldi. He's done an incredible job.
Well done, Frank. Thank you. You want to say a few words? Totally up to you.
So thanks so much. This program means a lot to me and to the rest of the people in our department. This is not a new program for the country, but it's a new program for our state. And like the chief said, my job is to keep people out of the hospital and to try to keep people from going to the hospital for things that they shouldn't have to go for. So we're doing blood draws in the house. We're taking samples or whatever has to be done. We're doing a lot of telehealth, so people that have problems getting to the hospital or to doctor's offices, we're doing actual telehealth in the house, talking to the doctor, evaluating the patient completely. The doctor writes a script. We'll go to the pharmacy, pick up the script, bring it to the patient, and they don't have to worry about anything. But the telehealth is really where we're going now, because as a paramedic and as an EMT, we can speak on a doctor's level and then talk to the patient and explain to the patient exactly what the doctor's saying, and they leave with a much, much better understanding. We do the same thing as well. We're getting a lot of resources for people, and we're getting a lot of positive feedback. And right now, I had to make a list for Chief Stanley about some of the patients that we're doing. I'm juggling about 40, 45 patients right now. So it's very busy, very, very busy. And I thank you so much, the Town Council, for letting us do this program, and the Chief especially.
Thank you, Frank. Any thoughts from council members?
I just want to applaud you in all of this. I think one of the biggest goals that people have is to age in place, and that really is what we're trying to help people do on a number of levels here on this council. A lot of the decisions that we make are towards that end. And with all of the issues now we have with primary care physicians, we have a real need for this service. And I just thank you for defining what this program can be and is. And I really look forward to seeing it continue to grow, even with our community learning center, where we will have rooms set up for those community paramedic visits too. So I really thank you very much.
I just know what a great program this is, and I was just thinking, is there like I feel like you also need a social worker on staff, like access to resources and things like that. Is there maybe a grant that we could pursue to sort of enhance that level? Because what you're doing is some of that, right? You're helping people get their health care, but if they need, like, I don't know, Meals on Wheels, or they need to be using the Johnny Cake or getting dinner delivered from the Peacedale Congregational Church, like, how do we broker, like, and organize that?
Yeah, we do exactly that.
Yeah.
Frank is in touch with all of those support
Yeah.
groups. He really solves problems.
Okay.
I mean, and he has a huge resource
So-
list that he taps into.
He functions almost like a caseworker. social-
Caseworker.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Awesome.
where the paramedic, the social worker,
Yeah.
really a navigator for the
Yeah.
patient and the family through the medical system. And a lot of people, they say, well, is this just helping the hospital?
Mm-hmm.
It's helping the whole system as a whole. Okay, because if we can prevent somebody who typically calls us 5-6 times a week to go to the ER, that patient isn't tying up an ER for 12 hours. I mean, it's the whole picture. And this week for this letter, as we know, House Bill 7485 is in the legislature, and Senate 2685, which mimics the same. And myself and the town manager will be going Thursday evening to testify for the legislation to have reimbursement for this. This is the future of EMS.
Yeah.
It really is.
And my last question is, would you ever be interested in taking on like college interns to sort of?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we do that now with medical students, fellows,
Yeah.
and students like that. So definitely,
I'll reach out because I have a
Okay.
connection that I think maybe on the social work side.
yeah. And for our community, I mean, nationwide, 11,000 people a day turn 65.
Yeah.
So this is the future of medicine.
Yep. Thank you, Chief.
And if we get that bill passed, that may give us more resources to do those referrals. Mr. Cormier's letter about you was very touching, and it is the future of medicine. As the traditional health system breaks down, this is what seems to be rising up to fill some of the gap. And it's not just tying up 12 hours in the ER, it can also be hours and hours of a patient waiting in the ER because they don't have the resources to get someone seen. So thank you very much for all you're doing.
Thank you. And just to give you, just really, really quick, we don't just take care of patients with diseases that are going to eventually die from those diseases or the terminal. We take everything. There's no thing that one person qualifies more than another. So like you said, I have probably 8 behavioral health people or ETOH abuse people that we're taking care of on a regular basis. And then a lot of elderly people that either break something, and I'm supposed to discharge them after 30 days as per what the program is, but since we started seeing them, I'm probably the only person that they see that month or that week. So for the people I've been doing the last year and a half or so, I have exactly the same amount of people, other than the people who have passed away. So yes, we do definitely offer like social services like that. Also, the chief took it upon himself to make us sure that we were crisis intervention certified through the state. So we are not clinicians or psychologists, but we're a step in the right direction to get them the resources. And we've gotten people plenty of resources through the House of Hope, through the Johnny Cake Center, the meals on the Fridays that they do the House of Hope, and then construction and whatnot as well.
And if I could add one more example to your, we had a patient that was referred to, the Captain Capaldi, dealt with a lot of mental health crisis issues, calls that would involve the police, us, and Frank took the time of spending with him, working with him over a couple of weeks, and I had the mom call me, and she was crying on the phone because he had not had an episode in over 2 to 3 months, had no encounter with the police, with us, and it's just a matter of spending time, and people say, is that our job? But it helps the system. It's a whole global approach to it. And that's just the dedication of Frank in this position.
Frank, over the past year, we've met up at breakfasts and, events in town, and we've had great conversations of you walking me through the impact that you have on our town. And it makes my heart feel full when I know that 40 to 45 people are getting the personal touch from you because you're a great guy. And I love that this is you mentioned that this is not unique. It goes on in other parts of the country. But that's a great example of you not reinventing the wheel, but bringing something great here and bringing and having proactive change. As my colleagues have mentioned, this is the future of medicine. You're taking a burden off of the healthcare system by going to their homes, by having proactive care, by having less impact on our healthcare systems. And I'm very proud of you, Captain Capaldi. Your family should be very proud of you and all the work that you and the rest of the team do. I'm glad that Chief Stanley brought it to our attention. And so at some point, we should give him a round of applause. One last question, Chief Stanley. What was the bill numbers again?
Yeah, the House bill is 7485,
7485?
7485,
Okay.
and the Senate bill is 2685.
Thank you very much, Frank. Thank you.
Hey, Chief, one more question for you. I just want to clarify. Now, one of the problems with the current structure is that if EMS goes to someone in need of care's home, for example, and they don't take them to the hospital, they won't get the paid. They won't get a reimbursement. What the law does is it puts in the provisions that even if they don't pick them up and take them to the hospital, they'll still get reimbursement for the cost of doing that. So it's almost under the existing structure, there's an incentive to pick them up, take them to the hospital, even if there's no need to do that, because that's the only way that the EMS will get paid. Is that correct?
That is correct. So this is just for us, for Frank, it's called, the theme of the bill is to treat in place, that we get reimbursement for that. And certain agencies in the country do, and I really don't follow this philosophy, is where if we go out and see somebody, say they're having chest pain, difficulty breathing, if they don't go to the hospital, we charge them. I don't think that's good business, because then you get people that say, last time I had chest pain, I called you guys out and I got a bill for $500. I think that's bad business. We're not trying to get into that. We're trying to just recoup our cost. But this bill allows that, but I don't think that's good business for us. This is strictly for the community paramedicine program.
Absolutely. And I'm correct to say that the council at the last meeting passed a resolution in support of the bill that you mentioned that you and Jim Eddy will be testifying in front of on Thursday.
Correct.
All right.
So,
All right.
Before we go on, I'm sorry, can you just, if anyone is interested in being a part of the community paramedic program, like they have a loved one or family member or someone they care about, how do they get
Yeah,
placed
they can go
in?
on our Facebook page, and the referrals on there, we'll see anybody. There's no, there's no screening, there's no,
Only on Facebook, not on like the website?
no, I'm sorry, the web page.
It's on the web page?
Yeah.
Not the special needs registry?
No, I don't think it should be on that. They can contact myself for it, because most of our referrals come from doctors, the hospitals, M2901, but people certainly can reach out to me, and we will do that referral.
All right, so just send an email or call.
Yeah, yep, they can reach out to me, and we can set that up.
Awesome, thank you.
I would really like to encourage members of the public to write in support of these two bills. If we could somehow, could we possibly get it on social media for the town?
That's a good idea.
That these bills are coming up, H7485 and S2685. I mean, I'll definitely put it on social media, but I know it makes a difference if people can write in, Jim.
Yeah, I'll notify Jess tomorrow morning. We'll put it out on social media.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Chief Stanley.
Thank you.
All right. That's going to move us back up to item 4, approval of minutes of previous meetings. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve items 4A, B, and C.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes. So I'm going to move us to item 5, interviews. Stephen Dematrick for appointment to the Building Code Board of Appeals, Minimum Housing Code Board of Appeals. I invite you to come on up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I apologize if I mispronounced your last name there. You got it really close. Okay. All right. We'll just ask that you push the button on the right.
Right, there you go.
Great. All right, so we received your application. Now it's a good opportunity to hear from you, why you think you'll be a good member of the committee, why you're interested, and anything else you wish to tell us. Go ahead.
Actually, I'm interested because Jamie Gorman asked me, because they don't have a builder on the committee. And actually, I've been looking to get more involved in the town over the last 5 or 6 years. And slowly, I'm getting to a point where I do have the capacity to have that commitment. And I've been a builder in our community for almost 30 years now. And I'm also very proactive in, like, nationally in education and presenting at conferences around the country about high performance building and sustainable building. So I'm very vested in the profession. And I feel like on that committee, I could have a positive impact on bringing my expertise to share with people because I think of the appeals board, it's about solving problems. It's not about confrontation. And I feel like the perspective I have from all my years in the field as a carpenter, as a contractor, as a designer, that I have a lot of experience that I could share to facilitate that process.
All right. So you're familiar with the building codes, no learning curve there. You'll just be able to pick up and go.
Yeah, no, actually, I know the codes in and out, and a lot of the code I actually know better than our own officials. So they actually call me with questions sometimes.
All right. Any other questions? Good.
I just wanted to say, Stephen, thank you for considering applying for this. I think you're going to be a valuable resource for our committee, especially if you know all the zoning codes already. So
Yeah.
thank you. Appreciate that.
All right. Thank you. Now we're going to take up your appointment.
Motion to appoint Stephen Demetric to the Building Code Board of Appeals / Minimum Housing Code Board of Appeals.
Second.
All right. We got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. That passes. All right. Good luck.
Easy peasy.
Congrats.
Thank you.
All right. We're now going to move to item 7, the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All right. We got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes. It's now going to move us to item 8, licenses. A is a resolution granting a victualling license to Coastal Vitality LLC, doing business as Fresh Monkey of 540 Kingstown Road, Wakefield. Application by Andrew Simmons. Andrew,
I am Andrew.
welcome.
Thank you.
All right, tell us what's going on.
Yeah, so taking over the current business that's there. If you're familiar, it's right across from the post office, right in the Bluebird Cafe Plaza. Taking over from another Narragansett native. I'm a Narragansett native. I now live in North Kingstown with my wife and 2 kids. We've always wanted to own a small business in the South County area, and we're just really excited to kind of grow in the community and see what we can make of it.
Nice. Keeping operations as is?
Operations are staying exactly as is.
All
Yep.
right, cool.
Yeah.
Any questions?
I love the smoothies there, so it's a great addition to Clovetus.
Awesome. Love that. You guys have to come in.
Definitely. All right, do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve item 8A.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, good
Cheers,
luck.
guys. Thank you.
Good luck.
Look forward to getting in there and trying the different options.
No, we
You
like
turn it
telling everyone, turn the button on. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, it's now going to bring us to item 9, public comment.
Oh, no, what about global spectrum?
Oh, sorry. Item B is a resolution granting a Class F 19-hour beverage license to Global Spectrum Limited Partnership, doing business as Spectra Venue Management, for the XIIR Extreme International Ice Racing event on Saturday, March 21, 2026, from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. at the Boss Arena, Kearney Road, Kingston, Rhode Island, subject to approval from Kingston Fire. Application by Brian Rothenberg.
This motorcycles on ice. I know someone who's going to this.
Yeah, hopefully a lot of people.
There is.
There you go. This is our second time doing this event. It was a great success last year, and we've learned from it and are ready to bring it back for another year. Again, and this is the second time I've been here now. We are working towards that Class J. It's officially been submitted, which is great. So the next time you see me, we'll be figuring this out for good.
Awesome.
But until then, just trying again to continue these sales for one of our bigger events in the calendar year.
All right. Any questions on this one? Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve item 8B.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's going to move us now to item 9, public comment. At this time, I invite anyone in the audience who wishes to speak on any matter to come on up. We just ask that you identify yourself, and we're going to limit you to 5 minutes. When you begin speaking, this time on the wall will begin timing down. Use it as a way to gauge yourself. Welcome. Could you just press the button on the right?
Hello, I'm Elizabeth Gardner, and I protest what they're doing out there on coastal resource management from all the way to New York. I think it should be a better plan, better looked at, not so many windmills, and it's also poisoning the water and making the radar dangerous. And I protest against tearing these schools down because we're running out of materials, and you should build up instead and use that for more creative things and seal it, and it'll be less toxic to the earth. and the air. That's all I have to say. And I should say this, I haven't been paid 1 penny for any of these easements, and that goes back to my lineage line. The Watsons, the Gardens, the Smiths, the Caswells, the Tefts, the Gannets, the Washington County Fair, the Pomona Grange, the Periwinkle, historical cemeteries. I'm an heir from all that, and on both sides of the family. And we own a whole bunch of historical cemeteries, all the way in New York and Greenville, Tennessee, and I haven't got 1 penny. I'd like to know why I haven't been paid for that. And it goes back 100 years. In 1985, my grandfather died. In 1996, this law precludes to it because my father died then, which was Alfred Gardner. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the audience wish to speak? I invite you to just come on up.
Good evening. Bob Traeger, South Kingstown, Succotash Road. I have this book in front of me only because it's filled with commentary from, I wouldn't say hundreds, but in the tens of 20s at least, of people that have voiced their opinions about what's going on in the past week. I listened to a lot of C-SPAN. So what? Anyway, I only have a few minutes. I'd be amiss if I hadn't mentioned one thing that occurred last week where I was lucky enough to catch Jay's meeting with some high school students and a couple of other people that stopped in that were very interesting too, but I wasn't able to listen and hear as much as I would have liked to. But I did get one comment from one of these very intelligent young people that I think is worth just mentioning. It's something maybe you know within yourself but might not think about that often. But when you've got a young person in front of you that is very intelligent and makes a comment showing that he understands that his life has been rather short. And right now, in his life, they've become used to hearing about the tragedies that happen in the United States in the last 10 years at least, of shootings in schools, and it just goes on and on. There's no way to cover it all. But he was aware of that he knows that he can't be 86 like I am. He hasn't seen as much. And everybody is an individual. And what I've seen is not what you've seen, and not what you've seen or anybody else in this room's what's seen. We all have our experiential fields, and we make the judgments based on them. It's so almost impossible now to speak about our president that we have right now. I don't like to be negative about anybody. And I always said about Trump, it's not Trump that I worry about. It's the people that listen to him. But I thought a couple of things about Trump. He doesn't drink and he doesn't smoke. Those are two positive attributes, right? But I think he is drunk. He's drunk with power right now. He's drunk with power. Try to internalize that thought. He's showing in no uncertain terms that he's going to do what he's going to do, and it's the right thing to do. And like I said, I've listened to some great people this week talk about the situation and he knows so little about Iran and the people of Iran and the nature of the complexities of that country. And I'm going to leave that now. I'm still on the boats that, here's where I'm generally at in my mind with what's going on in our country. We're finding it very easy to make decisions about killing people. We saw it in Minneapolis with the two unbelievably murders that were occurring there. And it seems like the American public, unfortunately, and not all the American public, enough of the American public that this guy hasn't pulled the switch the other way. He fired somebody recently and then gave her another job. So, I mean, I'm not going to get into this. Those are all points that plenty of people are making. The main point is that we become a country that it's just okay to kill people without even knowing right or wrong. And in the case with the boats, I don't think there's any excuse for those deaths. Those boats should have been stopped, captured, cross-examine the people that are on them, take the drugs instead of polluting the water with them, instead of polluting the water with oil, instead of doing a number of things that are wrong. And it's against the law and international law and marine law too. If we're going to let them just keep breaking the law, and I was supposed to go to a meeting with White House, but he canceled it a week ago. I guess I didn't know it. I'm not an internet person, so I didn't get it. So I showed up, read the note on the door. Postponed, it said. Well, that's okay. I like a lot of what Jack Reed has said recently.
All right, Bob. Great stuff. We
Oh,
appreciate
hold on.
your...
I'm sorry. I didn't look up. I wasn't looking up. Anyway, we got a great senator. Two great senators. Unfortunately, what I would have asked them, why the hell can't you do something? Do something. Don't use an excuse that we don't have enough votes.
Thank you, Bob. All right. Anyone else in the audience wish to speak? All right, seeing none, we're going to move on to new business. Item A, Terry Murphy, come on up.
Good evening. I have a recommendation for amending the contract to Central Maine Pyrotechnics. They are the vendor who was awarded a 2-year contract for the 4th of July fireworks for 25 and 26. The recommendation is to increase the award from $23,000 to $29,000 by $6,000 to add additional shells to the fireworks display for 2026 in honor of the USA 250th celebration this year. And to that end, it requires a council authorization to do so. It would add approximately 225 shells to the display. That would total about 1,500 total shells that go up and go boom. So we'd like to really make it special. Over the years, the shell count has incrementally gone down because we haven't really expanded the budget for the fireworks. So we really want to bring it back up, have a great display for 2026, and then we're due to go back out to bid next year for another 2-year round.
Excellent. Any questions, Councilman?
Seems like, Terry, you want a little extra bang for your buck? Huh?
You could say that.
Thank you very much. I'll be here all week.
Can
ahead.
I bring something else up just for consideration? I'm not really sure if this is the time, but would it be possible for us to do something to thank the people that plowed us out and all of the public safety staff that dealt with the blizzard? Like maybe do something extra special. I don't know if we can discuss that now, but since we're talking about the fireworks.
And I believe you're referring to at the 4th of July.
Yeah, at the 4th of July. That's what I meant. Like,
I would just comment that all of the public safety people are on duty on the 4th of July. It's a very heavy public safety presence.
Okay, that makes
Certainly,
sense.
we couldn't do it without them, but the problem is that they're all working. and to really be able to recognize them. I love that idea, because I think we couldn't, the rec department couldn't do any of this without having police and fire and EMS. So yeah, I think that's a great idea. We can
Make
look
it part of the program
Yeah, I
or
was gonna say,
something.
Could we put it in writing?
Yeah, we could dedicate the extra shells to all of the, you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
don't know if that's something like that.
I
Well-
think we could maybe put it toward the SKUSA 250 committee and see how they may brainstorm some ideas for.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I also
Doing
think,
something.
Rory, you can maybe add it to your remarks. You could,
Absolutely.
easy to do that. You'll remember.
Motion to approve item 10A.
So I'm happy to do second, but I have a question. So
All right, we got a motion, second. Discussion, go ahead.
happy to increase it because I think it'll be a beautiful show. I know it's a beautiful show. Where will the extra 6,000 come from? Am I missing that in the memo?
So I have proposed in the 26-27 budget, because this is the 26-27 fiscal year, an additional $6,000
Gotcha.
in that budget
Okay.
for that line.
Did I miss that? Or was it said? Or was I supposed to read it?
The fund is there. It does say it under funding source, FY 26-27 operating budget, professional services account.
I see, but you have to do the change during this fiscal year.
Correct. We need authorization so that we can make sure we get the extra shells.
Totally great. Yay, let's vote.
So Terry, it just happens to be that the cost for these fireworks over time is not really subject to much increase. I feel like since the time I began, it was around 20,000, and it looks like the last year was 23,000. Now we're looking at spending only an extra 6 just to have a real big show. It's just that fireworks have not really been subject to great increases in expenses.
Oh, no, they have. So we have incrementally, they've reduced the shell count over the years. We're not getting the same amount of shells that we got 10 years ago. We still get a great show, but it's starting to, if we
Get
don't
small.
bump up our budget going forward, we really, South Kingstown doesn't like a 15-minute fireworks show. We like a 25-minute, half-hour fireworks show. So it will show in coming budgets, and we do our best to solicit sponsorships and things like that, but
You've been getting a smaller bang for the buck.
smaller bang for the buck, yeah.
Well, like the diminution in fireworks, I guess, for lack of a better word, over the years, it hasn't really been noticeable. So it seems to appear that the show has been great every year, but the cost has remained the same. So that's why I say it doesn't appear such that the costs have really been going up.
They do a good job. The technicians do a good job with how they choreograph the show, but I've noticed, but then again, we really focus in on timing the show and, looking at how many shells go up and that type of thing. So it has changed, and the cost has gone up.
Okay. All right, we got a motion, we got a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right, look forward to a great show.
Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. All right, it's now going to move us to item B. We got the school building committee chair. We got left field. We got Gil Bain.
And it's just 8 o'clock.
And we have Jade Studio as well, represented by Phil Conti. Kate, what do we have?
Sorry, my bi-weekly vision test. Give me a moment.
Do you need glasses?
Oops. Let's skip ahead. Excuse me, so are we taking the first item under new business for the change order committee? I apologize, just want to be clear.
If you have it in a different structure in the presentation, we can take it that way. That's fine.
I have it in whichever order you want me to take it.
All right, let's take it up in the way it's presented on the agenda, which is
Change order.
demolition would be first.
Demolitions first? Okay, thank you.
Is that here? Oh, is this here?
It should be in the packet,
Okay.
yes. It's on page 13, I
Yeah.
believe. So just going over overall project budget and where we'll align with the bid recommendation award. Within our $11 million for the Curtis Corner Athletic Program, we've broken it up into several different buckets. And that's really how we're strategizing the design and bidding of our project, is by the demolition and abatement of the existing middle school program, the field design and construction, which we'll also be presenting later this evening, and then site improvements, not necessarily related to the building or the field, but outside of it, relating to drive lanes, parking, any other site improvements outside of the demo and the new field construction, along with $1 million in contingency, brings us to our 11 million total. So at our last meeting, we had some conversation about the bidding process that was done for the partial demolition of Curtis Corner, and then the rebidding of the project, exploring the full demolition of the Curtis Corner building, establishment of a green space in its place. After review with the building committee, they did move forward with the option of the full demolition. So the bids that were received, we did receive 7 bids for the full demolition. The low bidder was Billray Corporation. Their bid came in at $675,000. The partial demolition low bidder that we received was $2,684,000. So between the partial demolition and full demolition, we're saving over $2 million. The authorization for this evening is the award of the contract at $675,000 plus a $40,000 contingency within that award for a total authorization of $715,000.
All right, thank you, Kate. Any questions? Go ahead.
Just a couple of comments with respect to Billray. You and the school building committee found them to be a qualified bidder because it is substantially lower, obviously.
It is substantially lower. So with the environmental hygienist, the one who put together all of the hazardous material and abatement plans, as well as the civil engineer, Phil, myself, and Luke Murray, we had a scope review meeting to ensure that they were carrying the full scope of work, that they met all of the requirements, prevailing wage, WMBE requirements, certified payroll, all of the things that we need to do on a public project, and they did meet all of those requirements. So we did feel that their bid was valid and full.
And you talked to us about this the last time we were here, that it sounds counterintuitive that a partial demolition is actually going to cost us more than a full demolition, but you've already explained that. One caution that I would have for the public and the council with respect to the word savings is that we're saving money right now because of the full demolition, and that's terrific. But the expectation and the discussions at the school committee and the school building committee, and the reason for the partial demolition back in '23 was the expectation that we were going to have some kind of facility for the kids located at the field, because the activities are going to be going on there and it's disconnected from the high school itself. So at some point we're going to need, or the school committee and school building committee are going to need to figure out what the replacement of that is. And one of the, just as a personal pet peeve, one of the phrases that has been thrown around since '23 is a field house, and Luke has instructed us repeatedly not to use that term, and we're not getting a field house because field houses are not reimbursed by RIDE, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So at some point, we'll need to figure out some other structure, but for now, $2,009,000 ahead is pretty good. Thank you.
I feel like I should know this, but I can't recall. The admin building, is that, and I'm looking at Kate at the same time, is that like a space that we could then move for some of that purposes and then admin move somewhere else? Because there's bathrooms there at least, and I don't know. That's not getting knocked down. That was the old plan, it was going to knock it down.
Yeah, the admin building is not being touched as part of this project. As far
Okay.
as potential relocation of that, I'm not aware of any conversations to that effect.
So the old bad plan was to knock down that building and So, I don't know, I guess I'm just sort of brainstorming at this moment, that might be a space that we could, I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying, Kate?
So when we were starting the conversation about, let's forget about the bad plan, because
Yeah.
I've blocked it all out.
Same.
PTSD.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, fully.
Same.
Started sweating.
know.
So when we started to talk about what could be for this project, there was a lot of brainstorming that went on with Phil, and we spoke with athletic boosters. We spoke previous, it was Brian Mahoney and with Terry, and they were kind of like pie in the sky, what could we do here? And there was discussion around, well, what if we expand upon the admin building and, add to it so that there could be athletic conference rooms and whatever. And it turned into a $20 million conversation.
Yeah.
And so that quickly ended. And that's where we were like, not happening, right? We are staying in our $150 million big umbrella. And then
Right.
for this in particular, we're staying hard, fast, 11 million or under.
Right.
And so that really kind of allowed for us to get rid of any potential scope creep. So admin building will stay as is. There's no plan in the foreseeable future that I'm aware of doing anything with that to incorporate that with the facility other than, yes, there are bathrooms there. So if our current concession bathroom situation is a problem, can that be a contingency? Sure. If something is happening and we need an emergency plan, of course, that's one of our facilities. But the idea wouldn't be to dedicate it to being part of the athletic complex. And I don't like using that term either. It's a field and a stadium. It's not a complex. We have a lot of those in the community. So, but the idea would be with the full demolition, we want to make sure that part of the plan does include some sort of storage, working very closely with the athletic department, making sure there is a plan if there is some sort of situation and we need to move the young adults somewhere. We have a plan. Phil's going to get into a lot of detail as far as when it comes to the schematic design that will be presented to you all going forward. But in the future, it's kind of this concept of future ready. In the future, another building committee, not mine, if they would like to pitch forward a $2, $3, $4, $5 million athletic facility to be placed on that site, sure, it can be visioned and planned for and moved forward with. If there can be a temporary storage structure, to your point, Mike, with some of the money that may be left over, but just because there's a $2 million savings on demo and abatement, am I saying that right? Okay. Demo doesn't mean, we have $2 million extra dollars, because we haven't even gone into field design yet.
Right.
Right? So we want to make sure that we're being very spending conscious, and that when we say we have this $2 million savings, it's really being moved and held, because there may be things that we want to build into the field and the track and the storage, things of that nature. Does that help?
Yeah, can I just ask, is the storage covered by RIDE? Like if we needed a storage shed or?
Equipment storage would be covered. Just not a field house.
Okay.
Yeah, it's this concept of a field house, because a field house is what you would experience over at URI. That's a field house.
Right.
Right. That's not what we would be looking at. We would be looking at conference rooms, maybe there's like a mini gym or locker room situation, home visitor, but that again is a bigger project than what we're currently tasked with.
Right.
And also has to be separately approved by RIDE, and we haven't even
Correct.
gone near
Correct.
that.
Yep.
So the only advantage to the demolition being about 700,000 is that we can dedicate more of the money to the actual concrete thing that students will use. Got you.
Yes, and I think it's also worth noting within that partial demolition that is leaving the building as a shell. It is a non-occupiable space. There is not appropriate life safety features or ventilation, heating, ventilation, or cooling within that building to support an occupied space by the fire marshal. So that would be an additional renovation scope of work with the partial demolition scope.
Oh, with a partial.
With the partial demolition scope. Yeah, so I'm just trying to qualify the that $2.6 million, what that actually entailed.
It's like an exoskeleton.
Yes.
Kate, glad you're bringing us good news again. Really appreciate that. And so I know that the Vice President mentioned it, but you said that the lowest bidder, the Billray Corporation, is meeting all of the standardifications. How come they could get in so much lower than other competitors, or is that a corporate secret?
I think a majority of that is a corporate secret, not unfortunately something that they would allow me to be privy to, but they do. It is a family-owned business, so when you have family working for you, there are rules within prevailing wage for family members that give them a little bit more flexibility in their pricing.
Well, I will look forward to Billray Corporation meeting the standard of excellence you all are putting up already, so thank you. And I know that Kate, the other Kate, mentioned that this $2 million we're saving could go into something else in the future, so it's not $2 million, in savings. But I mean, at this point in the project, can you accurately say that out of the $150 million bond, we have $4 million in savings so far? In total?
Until the field is designed, I wouldn't want to capitalize on using any of this money at this point, but yes, we are within our project, well within our project budget parameters.
It's great.
Of $150 million.
So,
Okay, I got a few questions, just want to walk through here. Now, we talk about demolition and abatement. So the demolition here, the authorization for $715,000, that includes both demolition and abatement?
Correct.
Excellent. And I just want to clarify, I'm pretty sure this is correct, but the demolition costs are subject to reimbursement from the state of Rhode Island?
That's correct.
Okay. And, we talk about $2 billion, in savings from this bid here, but to me it looks like $2,285,000. Is that correct? If our budget for this was $3 million, but the actual will be $715,000, then in terms of the budget to actual as it relates to demolition abatement, the savings would be $2,285,000?
It is, yes, you're correct in that ballpark. This was really a comparison between the full demolition versus the partial demolition. Comparing it to the actual budget, you're correct in the numbers that you're stating.
Okay.
So it's even greater savings if we're comparing to budget.
And when we, you say you want to sort of be flexible in terms of if other parts of the Curtis Corner budget need more monies, it should be allocated there as opposed to sort of declaring now, here is savings as it relates to the Curtis Corner project. That makes sense. Another thought here, we talk about, not using terms like field house. I don't really know what that is. I guess it's uneducation related and primarily for sports, but we say anything relating to storage could possibly be subject to reimbursement. And then we talk about conference rooms, which sounds like it would be education related, so subject to reimbursement. Any sort of, timeline on the school buildings committee's end as to when to start thinking about what could potentially go there as far as the structure, if any?
I know that would be an additional authorization as far as a scope of work and an additional application. So at this point, from my perspective, we have not talked timelines, but I don't know, Kate, if there's anything on your end you'd like to add.
It may
to
just
that?
be too premature, and
Yes.
that makes sense. That's fine. I just feel like if we're going to do anything, and it sounds like we may do something, I just feel like it makes sense to sort of start thinking about it sooner than later. But obviously, if we'll need the funds to do that, sounds like we'll need authorization for it.
Yes.
And if we can somehow fit it into being subject to reimbursement, that's obviously ideal.
Yeah, if the building committee and council authorize the project team to move forward, we can develop a plan about our stage 2 ride submissions and design, and we can pull together a project plan for that. We would just need authorization from building committee and council to pursue that additional project.
And another question here, just to sort of sweeten the deal. What is the annual operating cost we pay to keep Curtis Corner up right now? Do we know that? I don't know that. No. All right, but it has been handed over to the town, so the town pays the expenses related to... No, the school has not handed over to the town. Okay.
The school committee has that. We have Wakefield.
Okay. Well, anyway, the ongoing costs of keeping the building up will go away when the building is demolished, so that's a positive thing to also throw in here to sort of sweeten the deal.
Absolutely.
Any other thoughts? Go ahead.
Just a quick question for Phil, at the risk of triggering Kate's PTSD. I know, you're leaning on the chair like you're about to jump out. But when we were on the school committee together in '21, I recall a conversation with the superintendent at the time that there is a mechanism at RIDE to amend a phase two, a phase two approval, but you only get one shot. Do you?
Sure. That typically has to do with the MOA amounts that are allocated by school and then are moved to other schools as necessary.
Okay.
So it does not amend
It's not like a new structure.
New project.
Okay, thanks.
If only it was that easy.
So just to, maybe I was trying to look at some Bill Ray online, but I can't. Maybe I missed you saying this. If we approve this demolition, when would this come down?
They would be ready to mobilize within 2 weeks. We have a 10-day notification period with the Department of Health. So after their authorization to proceed, they could get in as soon as 2 weeks. They would start with removing
So like
contents from the
May?
building, and yes, they're ready.
Sometime in May it could be down. April?
Yes.
April, okay.
Yeah, it's roughly a 3-month time frame that they're looking at to do this scope of work.
Okay, and do we need any sort of a community notification, like neighbors or noise or like parameters, or is there a process?
Yeah, we
for-
would plan to send out an abutter notification, just letting them know that there was going to be activity happening on site, similar to the notifications that we've done at the high school.
Yeah, because dust and debris.
Yes.
Noise. Okay, thank you.
One last thought, Kate. Now, in the event that they start the demolition and maybe they find stuff, I don't know, fragments, whatever it is, whatever it's referred to in building demolition, whatever, that is sort of unsafe and is hazardous, may require, potential increases to the amount allocated. Is that always a possibility when you're talking about demolition?
Absolutely, yeah. Unforeseen conditions, demolition and abatement scopes of work, they do as much as they can to take samples of materials that they can get access to, but there are always going to be things that there's not been a single demo job I've come on that there hasn't been things that they find as they're going through the demolition process. That is the $40,000 contingency that's within this authorization is intended for exactly that.
Okay.
Would there be an incentive for a company to purposely underbid a job, knowing that there would likely be mitigating factors that could result in them being actually paid a lot more?
Their contract will only be able to increase based on the scope of work that was a change from the original contract. There is a very full abatement plan that was put together by Emery Associates, the environmental hygienist that's working on this project. So the only increase in cost would be related to a change. They'd not be given the opportunity to rebid the entirety of their scope of work.
And we'll be keeping a very close eye on the company, because the difference in price is enormous.
Yeah.
And so that, like if something's too good to be true, you kind of are looking for an angle. So at least that's the way that I'm thinking, so.
As a former Curtis Corona Cougar, I move to approve item 10B.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Go ahead.
I just, at some point, Jim, I'm not able to look at the Bill Ray Corp page in the town council meeting to even look at. I don't know why this is.
I did. I mean,
But you
just
can, outside of the chambers, right?
No, I was looking at it. I was just looking at it on my phone.
Correct, but I'm trying to use my I don't
Oh, yeah.
understand why I can't look at it. It's fine.
Go ahead.
Nothing to do with that.
Just to follow up on Patty's point, maybe the way to ask the question is, in any of the other bids and the bidding materials, were there any noticeable differences in the abatement treatments between the bidders?
No, they have to follow Department of Health regulations, and the hygienist was very specific in asking questions to ensure that they were going to follow all of the required regulations for disposal. I would say, I know some of these bidders are significantly higher. They're general contractors. They have more overhead. These guys do self-perform a lot of the work, which is another reason they're able to be more price competitive. I don't know much else about how, their trade secrets of how they run their business, but they will have oversight over their company and the scope of work that they're performing.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Rest in peace, CCMS.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes. We got a few more items. We'll move to item C now. That is the change orders.
All right, we have 3 change orders in front of you this evening for authorization. These change orders have been reviewed with the change order task force and recommended for approval by the school building committee. The first is for alternate number 1. This is a betterment to the project. This is to utilize ceramic wall tile in lieu of a wall protection material. It's kind of a hardened wallpaper, if you will, throughout the first floor main entry corridor and cafeteria. This is the area that you experience when you really first walk through the door. It is very high traffic area. This
Kate,
is
what page is this?
I'm sorry?
What page is this?
Page 3.
Thank you.
Page 3?
Yes.
It is? Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just looking at the number on the bottom of my screen. It counts the cover page. So this is an additional cost. This would be drawn from the owner's contingency for a total cost of $74,981. The second alternate, please stop me if you want to ask any questions in between them, but alternate number 5, this is additional infrastructure to add future additional wireless microphones to the AV system within the auditorium. This is really a future expansion. Again, reviewed with the change order task force as well as the building committee. The theater department was also consulted in this. This was a specific request on their end. If they want to buy more microphones in the future, this allows them to be able to program it to the AV system. It is an add to the contract of $5,472. And the last, alternate number 8, is actually a reduction in cost. It is a deduct to utilize a PVC material for underground sanitary lines. This is under the slab itself in the building in lieu of cast iron piping. This has also been reviewed with the building department in addition to the task force and building committee. And this is a reduction to our overall contract price of $68,416. So that leaves us a net addition to, this would be an addition to Gilbane's contract of $12,037.
And that would be covered by the contingency?
Yes, it's funded by the owner's contingency.
Okay, great. That's really nice to see the deduction to offset the addition. So great job, Change Force.
Okay. So I had a chance to talk to Dave Palzetti, who, as you know, is on the committee. And he did explain this to me, and it's not really, I thought it was like I want to explain to everyone the way I understand it. It's not an add-on. It was originally a ceramic tile, and then it was removed as part of maybe trying to meet the bid price. They're nodding, so I know I was doing great, right? So there was ceramic tile on the walls in the cafeteria, and he said this is a great thing because what they were proposing, we would be frustrated with the maintenance costs and all of that. So he said it was just taken away to meet the bid price, and so now it's just being added back in. So it's not like a upgrade or we're, making it too bougie. He's like, that's what it was, and now it's going to be returned to that. So that's the way I understood it. So I'm totally in support of it. I just wanted to say it for people who listen and go, now they're upgrading with tile. No, we're really not. We just took it out initially to make sure we made the number correct. Everyone's nodding.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. So this is great. So I'm fine with all of these things. So motion to approve item 10C, sorry.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. I want to ask you a little bit about item 3 there, the PVC material in lieu of cast iron. Is that just like a cheaper material? Sort of what went behind that thinking? And I really don't know much about what those two things are or what their purpose is in building, so maybe you could just walk me through why the decision to make that change. Looks like maybe, obviously it has cost savings related to it, but what was the intention? Go ahead.
I wouldn't say cheaper. I would say different material. This is for the sanitary line, so the waste that comes out of the restrooms and sinks runs through these lines. This is as it's traveling through the building under the slab and getting ready to exit out into onto the site and out into the sanitary system for the town. So it is a widely accepted and used material. It is very durable material. Cast iron is really, I would say, the highest end product you can utilize, but the PVC material that they're using in this is a standard use material, and it is up to quality standards. I don't know, Phil, if there's anything else you want to add.
No, the only thing I'd add is that our engineers typically specify a cast iron just as a best practice that is really old school. Because what their concern is, sometimes if someone is recklessly trying to clean a clog, they could get in there and with a very violent machine and crack a PVC, as opposed to trying to crack cast iron. However, PVC has been around just as long as cast iron, and it is not uncommon for us to be presented with this alternative material, and we always accept it, particularly when building code permits it, the town DPW is in support of it, and if there is value added to it in that it does generate a cost savings.
All right, that's fair. So it's like a new modern material that's sort of moving away from cast iron.
Yes.
All right.
Kate, are you going to be addressing the schedule in the next item, or?
That's part of the town manager's report. I can.
Cool. No, I'll wait till then. Thanks.
Yes.
All right, we do have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes. Now we have item D, which relates to a notice of order related to a public hearing adding an exemption to the nuisance ordinance.
So the project scope for concrete, as we're looking at pouring concrete decks, as you'll see in the town manager report, we are erecting steel. One of the next steps is going to be pouring concrete slabs within the building. The finishing of the concrete, the curing time of the concrete is very weather dependent. So the installers do need to wait for that product to be cured and go through the finishing process before they can walk away and come back the next day. All of that work does need to be done as the concrete is curing. It is essential for quality control of the concrete itself as it is drying. So that being said, there's the anticipation, again, weather dependent, on the potential for after-hours work as they are waiting for the concrete to cure so that they can come in and finish the concrete as it is curing. So again, based on weather, we have 4 dates in the months at the end of March and into April that there's the potential for those pours to extend after normal business hours. The sound of the finishing equipment is roughly equivalent to a lawnmower. And we are also looking at giving public notice to the abutters within 2 weeks. We have a letter drafted that we're going to be putting in the mail tomorrow in advance of the end of March. We are also going to be posting, there we go. We are also going to be posting on the project website and sending out email notifications. There is a link on our website to subscribe to email notifications. That link will be included in the letter that goes home, as the website will also be posted again on that letter that is sent to the abutters. And we've identified a 300-foot radius around the project team to send those abutter letters to.
Okay. I got a question about the nuisance ordinance. Does that apply after a certain hour?
It does, and so this proposed ordinance amendment would exempt school construction would effectively exempt school construction activities from that ordinance, provided that it's an approved construction activity, meaning approved by the town council.
So that's why it's needed, because the hours by which this activity takes place.
Correct.
If it were to take place during regular business hours, there just wouldn't be a need for it, because it wouldn't be considered a nuisance under the ordinance? Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So we expect the time frame by which these activities will take place is going to be about 8 p.m. to 12 a.m.-ish on those 4 different dates? And you may have already stated that, but can you just clarify?
Sure. So the current, I think, time period to stop would be 9 o'clock. We're anticipating maybe running over a couple hours at the most.
Stop or start?
If needed, to stop. So right now the noise ordinance stops us at 9 o'clock. We're probably looking at a couple of extra hours, again, if needed. So this is nothing that's a definite. This isn't anything that I can sit here and tell you, yeah, we are definitely going to do this for 4 times. Could be 1, could be 3, could be 5, right? We don't know. It's going to be whatever the concrete does. So yeah, we're talking about a couple of hours, and we're also talking, it's not a continuous operation. So we'll be doing a pour, say, the end of 1 week, and we probably wouldn't be doing the next one until the end of the next week. Maybe it'll be 2 weeks in between as we get ready for the next section. So this is not a continuous operation. This isn't something that's going to happen every night. This is a one-off over the course of 4 weeks, and there'll be a gap in between those 4 weeks. So.
And the weather is a factor as to, how many times you'll need to do this or how long it will take to do it?
It's just the weather affects how quick the concrete gets hard and allows us to get on it and finish it and polish it and level it. So you don't want your concrete to be like that, right? So we want a nice level concrete, so we just have to wait for that concrete to get hard enough for us to be able to get on top of it and do that. It very well may happen before 9 o'clock. I just can't sit here and, and guarantee that. Just trying to be good community partners and just getting out in front of this to the public, saying it's a maybe, so that people can be, we're transparent about it, people can see it, they can be aware of it, they can be ready for it. It's not a shock and awe.
And if you get feedback after the first time that a lot of people are complaining, can you just let us know, or just keep us in the loop about that so we can try to continue to be proactive and telling people that there could be some noise?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Perhaps using generator instead of lawnmower might be a more translatable noise level, because, and also the timing, like we just had the storm and people had maybe lost power and they're used to because the lawnmower, you didn't
I'm more
lose-
familiar with a lawnmower than a generator.
Well,
Yeah,
generator is a winter noise, and I feel like,
the equipment has
I don't know what it sounds like, a lawnmower.
it's the equivalent. There's a couple different
buffer?
machines. One is a walk behind that has the equivalent of a push mower.
I see.
And then there's another one you get on and you ride behind it, and maybe that's the equivalent of a ride around lawnmower kind of a thing.
So it's not, to me, a lawnmower isn't that loud, it's just you hear it.
Correct.
So is that what you're saying?
It's not going to be heavy equipment. It's not backhoes and graders and
Okay.
rollers
So
and.
could be a generator.
Yep.
It's very similar, but just moving.
Honestly, it's not going to be. I really don't foresee this being a huge impact.
Okay.
We just, like I said, wanted to get out in front of it.
Do you think that you could tell us if you have to go past midnight? I mean, would you not right away, but like the next day, or at least communicate to Jim? We went to 11:30 so that the town manager would know in case people funnel their frustrations that way.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Is it hard to do? I mean, I'm asking you to do something hard. No.
No,
Okay.
I can talk to Jim.
Well, you see him,
The next morning, yeah.
sorry, Jim. You can call Jess. You can call Jess and just, because we wouldn't, how would we get that information in a timely way if it doesn't go there? And then he could say it wasn't an issue or they finished at 11 o'clock. We would know. Would we want to know that? Would we want to know that?
I mean,
I'd be
perhaps at
happy
the
to
next
tell you.
meeting that you come here, you give us an update as to how it's been.
Sure.
And maybe from there, you could sort of have,
Yeah.
I don't know, anticipation of whether more times you'll have to do it or how the weather has been in comparison. Whatever factors go into it, that will help us get more information from what's happening.
Motion to approve item 10D.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Just a question. When you mentioned the ordinance essentially kicks in at 9 p.m. and you said you thought maybe a couple of hours, and I realize that you're subject to the temperature, the weather, and when you start the process for setting the concrete to begin with, but is there a way to schedule it so that you're not going past 11 no matter what?
No.
Not really, no. I mean, our only other option, right, is to do these in smaller pours, right? But that's gonna
Takes time.
interfere with our goal, right, of on budget, on time. That's gonna take more money to do that on multiple pours. Instead of 12, it's gonna be 25, right? So you're gonna double your cost for that, and the schedule is obviously gonna get pushed out by doing that. So that's what we're up against.
The only other thing I'd suggest to whoever's going to be responsible for giving notice to the abutters is sound vibrations don't recognize lot lines. So if you can be, and I think we had this discussion with Chris at one point about being very liberal with the term abutters so that people in the neighborhood generally, they all get notice, not just the ones within 250 feet. The more people you notify, the better off you're going to be.
Yeah, so
we're going to be too.
We identified 300 feet from both the hazard border as well as the high school border. They're technically two different parcels when you go on GIS. So we did a 300-foot radius around both of them. It's about 70 homes, roughly. So it's probably 2 rows of houses at a minimum surrounding the entire site.
I'm just wondering, are you just being proactive? So maybe, I'm thinking to myself.
This may not be an
correct,
issue
and
at
it might-
all. Yes.
I
Let's
was
just
wondering
all
if
today is
put
an
forth-
indication of what spring may be from now until June, then there may be none. So
Right.
to
Right.
Mark's point is,
I think
we're
we're-
just really being super proactive
That's what I
and
thought.
transparent
Right.
All
in
right,
case we
let's
get a
go.
phone call.
Let's just, we
We
appreciate
appreciate
you so much,
We love it
but
too, but also it's like
we're going to just all
weird.
be, yeah,
Well-
it's going to be fine.
All right.
Let's move on.
We
Yeah,
have a
this
motion
is
and a
fine.
second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes. We'll have a public hearing in April to take this up, and we'll take it up further then.
So I would just jump in here. We really could use this at the next meeting if we can get it noticed.
I will do my best, but the advertising deadline is tomorrow morning, and sometimes the turnaround can be a little too quick, but I'll do my darndest for you.
Yeah, anything we can do because the work is scheduled, I think, end of March, right? So we are proactive. This came pretty quick, and working with solicitor's office, we were able to turn this around, but it is something we want to make sure that we're compliant with our own ordinances.
All right. Thank you. All right, we're going to jump right down to the manager's report item related to the schematic design.
We did this? We have
I apologize. This is the schematic design for Curtis Corner or the update? The project update.
Town manager's report update item B. I believe we took up every other item that you're here for. Am I
All
correct?
right. So then I'll hand it over to Phil to pull up his presentation relating to the schematic design for Curtis Corner.
Kate, while he's pulling that up, got a question for you. So page 4, I think it's the update, right? Yes. I'm looking at it. It seems like the red bar has July 23 of 2027 as a possible completion date.
That is correct. That's the date that's in Gilbane's contract, and that's the date we're holding him to.
Fantastic.
Yes.
That's why you're giving us good weather.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm happy to present our design submission to you for approval to submit to the RIDE portal for the Curtis Corner Athletic Fields. There's a couple bullet points that I want to make sure we're all aligned with. The athletic fields are remaining at the Curtis Corner Middle School site. The proposed field location is generally the existing field location. However, there are significant improved stormwater management strategies to that location. The design parameters required an 8-lane track so that we can host competitions, and a field surface that is a synthetic turf surface. There will be new site amenities, including lighting, bleachers, and fencing. And I want to remind you that this is part 2 of the 3-part project at Curtis Corner. Part 1, the demolition of Curtis Corner. This is part 2. Part 3 is the remainder of the site design, including parking lots and roadways. And it would be that time where it would be prudent to plan for a future building when we are finalizing that site strategy. So this is part 2.
Phil, briefly,
Yes.
where can we find this presentation?
I have a handout for you.
Lovely.
And I will certainly distribute it to the town for its posting. So I'd like to highlight some of the main features. The design of the track. The basis of design is an encapsulated sandwich system that has a life expectancy of about 10 to 12 years with proper maintenance, and it does come at a premium of about 10 to 15%. When we presented with our athletic consultant to the building committee the variety of options for a track, we explained it as a good, better, best, and we presented options in all 3 of those categories. The category that we decided upon was probably within the better lane, the middle one, and it does come at a premium. The reason why we selected this system for its long-term durability, especially in high wear zones, such as the inner track, its ability to retain the granulars longer. It is easier to maintain, but is not maintenance-free. And it does have a better tolerance for high public and community use, which was one of the requirements when we were working on this track system. The basis of design for the field, which is a synthetic turf system, again, along with our athletic consultant, we presented grass and a number of synthetic turf options to the committee, and it was decided that we would proceed with a hybrid fiber synthetic turf, and that the infill was a blend of virgin rubber and sand in a particular percentage. We did introduce a shock pad underneath of this turf, and that shock pad is reusable over 2 life cycles of the turf surface. It has a life expectancy of about 10 to 12 years, again with maintenance. And this system that was designed specifically comes at a premium of about 15 to 20%. And again, within the good, better, best lane, this is the better lane. The reason why we did that is because the district does expect a lot of use on this surface. We know that scheduling and tournament demands are going to be high, and we need a dependable all-weather playability surface. Are there any questions before I highlight some of the design features?
What kind of maintenance is required for the turf?
A vacuuming and grooming of the turf surface itself. There are specific pieces of equipment that will be included in the bid for this project so that the district has all of the apparatus that it needs to properly maintain the surface.
And will that equipment be included in?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Phil, it looks good. I like this picture right here. And for the rest of everybody, it's red because most of the tracks these days are red, right?
Correct, and that is the more value-added color as opposed to introducing other colors. Blue is an option. It comes at a greater premium.
Phil, I want to ask you about life expectancy. 10 to 12 years, are we talking about the turf, the track, both?
Yes.
Both?
Both.
And is that typical?
Yes.
And then when you reach the end of life?
So for the track, you would end up resurfacing it. Similarly to how you resurface a road, you mill it and you overlay a new surface. That would be for the track. And for the turf, it would be like replacing carpet in your house. I want to remind you that the shock pad that we've put underneath, that has a life expectancy of over 20 years.
And the cost related to either one of those activities at the end of life, is that significant, not significant? I'm sure it'd just be part of the operating budget or I guess capital improvement plan at that time. But I guess what are we talking about when we're talking about that?
Sure. So at the end of the presentation, I have a little budget slide that will highlight each one of those categories. And then you can see that over the next 10, 12 years, there should be a plan to be able to replace those elements at the value that I will present.
It's fair to say that the athletes these days, they prefer to play on turf as opposed to grass.
It gives them the greatest flexibility to play multiple sports on a finished surface that is not impacted with divots or mud.
Less regular maintenance, I guess, with the turf as opposed to grass.
Well, correct, and more playability.
Yes, yes. And a running back getting handed off the ball, trying to go up the gut, they get one, quicker step on the turf than they would with the grass. That's what I would think. But we don't have to go into that.
Yeah.
Good.
Phil, I'm looking at this, and one thing at the current Curtis Corner field is that we have a lot of great boosters for South Kingstown education and athletics. And right now at the Swamp, when you look down from the bleachers, our great sponsors, their banners are kind of low and not really featured prominently. And I think that when we look at who's going to be sponsoring us in the future, we really want to honor that in a way. And I know this is just a model, but I hope that we can keep that in mind for the development of that, because people like the Matunic Oyster Bar and Arnold's Lumber and all these great small businesses that help fund our athletics will help bring down the cost. But we want to make sure that they're being recognized as well in a tasteful way, right? Not right in your face, but better than what is going on right now, which is just super low and not really as best as we could do for our gratitude for their sponsoring our athletics.
That's a great point. Absolutely. All right, let me quickly go through the design here. Just to orient yourself, I would say focus on the bottom middle of the image. That is your current concession stand. Flanking that concession stand will be 2 new 500-seat each bleacher systems, one to the left, one to the right, and then a large plaza that would allow for, obviously, track egress, evacuation after a large event, as well as the opportunity for other events such as tents for boosters or other activities that may be going on. We have proposed lining the field for lacrosse, soccer, and football. We have the requisite track features, long jump and high jump. We have a perimeter walkway that surrounds the entire system. The entire complex is fenced in. We are bringing new lighting to the fields. One thing we wanted to do responsibly without excessive cost was to at least highlight the entrance to the new field. So we feel that there's an opportunity here to improve the fencing that faces the public and create a gateway to the new field as you enter through the concessions area where ticketing is. This is a view that is intended to highlight the fact that we are raising this field up. If you look to the left, you see what appears to be a sliver of white wall underneath of the fence. That's a retaining wall because we're building the site up to improve the drainage of that area. So I just wanted to highlight that for you. Again, this focuses in on that concrete plaza and just demonstrating to you that we are recognizing the importance of having some area around the bleachers for circulation, for other accessory activities, being able to bring home and away teams onto the field separately and segregated, one to the left, one to the right. Those aisleways are also wide enough, for example, if we had to bring an ambulance onto the field, and certainly when they open up at the end of an event so everyone could exit the field area and the bleacher area without going through the chute that got them into the building or into the site. We do want to fully protect this site from vandalism and unauthorized uses. To the right of this, you just see a large gray area. That is the beginning of this part 3 of the project. How will this site interact with this complex here? And that's what I was saying would be an opportunistic time to plan for any future building, how it could integrate into this final site design, which I'm calling part 3. Part 2 is everything you see here. The field, the turf, the track, scoreboards, lighting, bleachers, plaza, fencing, etc. Any questions before I go into the budget?
And so all of the parking lot is going to be part 3, right?
Pardon me?
Parking
Yes.
is part 3.
Yes.
Okay.
In part 3, you're talking about, that's not part of the $11 million?
Oh, it is. It
It
absolutely is. It
Okay,
absolutely is,
okay.
yep.
I wasn't sure. We're not there yet? Okay. I have a question. What it would be helpful to me, and I think you'll come back in another session maybe, is to show us what currently, like how far away it is, because I guess I didn't realize you were going to use the concession stand, which is great, but I just didn't, in my head, I can't visualize where the field is. Maybe just if I had the new overlaid the old in the slide would be helpful. You could,
Okay.
yes?
I agree with that.
What did you say, Kate? And Kate?
Yeah, I'd probably say that the existing field is within the footprint of the new field. The existing field is smaller, it has fewer lanes, and it's not wide enough for a soccer field as we're showing here. So I would say your existing field is within the outline of the new field. At a lower elevation,
Yep.
we're bringing it up and making it wider and longer.
Okay. And I mean, I don't know what the public can see, but, because I don't know what's on the screen, but the largest yellow, I think it's yellow, what are the, you said soccer?
Yellow is soccer, blue is lacrosse, white is football. And those are the typical colors that you would find in most high school projects.
Yellow is soccer, the soccer is the widest.
Yes,
Okay, and then white is football, and blue is what?
lacrosse.
Okay, so there's lots of room.
Pardon me?
There's enough room for all of those things.
Yes.
Which isn't possible with what we currently have. I'm just saying, right?
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Currently, football and soccer is being played? But not lacrosse?
Right.
Okay. Got it.
Or field hockey.
Where are the lacrosse games played? Upper
Playfields.
Curtis Corner?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. This is good. Makes sense.
Phil, it's probably worth supplementing a couple of points here in terms of the history and the context. We've had issues for years with the field, which is part of the reason why it's being raised up in terms of flooding and rain and drainage issues. But also, I remember having the discussion with you and Terry Lynch back when we were doing the Phase 1 about upgrading the overall field to make it compliant with Rhode Island Interscholastic League, because we actually can't play some games there anymore. And that's why this was incorporated into the overall project. You would sort of mention it briefly at the beginning of your presentation, but I want to make it clear to the public that part of the reason we're going through this whole exercise is to make the field more usable by the various athletic teams that we field, that we host.
Correct, you are correct.
So, oh yeah, you're gonna go, this is what you're gonna talk about now?
So the schematic design estimate that we have right now is that the site work is approximately 1.25 million. The track is $1 million. The turf field is 1.75 million. And site amenities right now are about $2 million, for a total of about $6 million right now. So regarding the replacement costs within 10 to 12 years, you are talking millions of dollars.
Are we
in terms
talking
of
about the same
replacement.
cost that's represented in this slide, or less than that?
Well, I cannot account for escalation right now, but it would probably be prudent. A recent surface that we replaced at Classical High School in Providence, where we simply replaced the turf, was almost $1 million.
We'll have to put money.
So when we're talking about replacement and end of life, we're looking at track and field.
Yes.
Which now is 2.75. So if costs remain the same, which it's unlikely that they will, they could go down, they could go up, we don't know. But assuming no change, that's what we're looking at in 10 to 12 years.
Approximately, yes.
Okay.
Which means that the school committee needs to incorporate into its CIP reserving funds every single year over the course of the 12 years, so that in the 12th year, without delaying the work, we get it done.
And then hopefully still eligible for reimbursement from the state?
No.
Okay.
Replacement is not eligible for reimbursement. RIDE will only pay one time, which is this time.
So, and I have a lot of flashbacks to the old ways, but turf wasn't covered before, now it is covered. I thought artificial turf was not allowed by RIDE. I feel like I watched Mario say it, and then, no? Misremembering that?
And I do recall that quite some time ago.
Yeah.
But that is not the case now.
Okay, great. So, and then just, I'm fine with this, the maintenance of the track and the field. We spend money on maintenance now, do we not? Right? We have drought, and the field goes yucky, and then we try to fix it. And so, I mean, it's not like a zero commitment for maintenance. This probably is more, I would guess it would be more, but it's also maybe better in the interim as well. The 10 to 12 years that we're using it is better than the grass field. You're nodding. Well, no one can see that you're nodding, right? Because you're not on the camera, but I think people need to, like, it makes sense. So it's fine. So that's 6 million and it's 700,000 for the demo. So there's some room for something, which is the parking?
Which is part 3, which
Okay.
is the parking, the roadway,
Yeah.
whatever we do off Curtis Corner Road, and whatever the council decides to move forward with following that. The next slide talks about schedule, so we might have a better idea of the actual dollars when we're looking at part 3. So we're looking for submissions to RIDE now through April, bidding and award May through June, construction starting around July, going through February of 27. Then phase 3 site work, which is the parking lot, etc. We're looking to do that work within the spring and summer of 27 so that everything is ready for when students return in September of 27.
Do you feel like that's an aggressive schedule or a reasonable schedule?
No, that's a very reasonable
Okay.
schedule.
It's not the same as the pressure we're putting on the school project.
Correct.
Okay.
So football and soccer
Sorry.
will hopefully be ready for 2-a-days by that summer, August. That's sort of the goal.
Yes, and we will know more as we get farther along in our schedule.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. Phil, my only regret is that I wasn't born later because now I won't be able to play on this new field.
Well, you
All
can.
right, all
There you
right,
go.
all right.
She's going to play lacrosse. She's going to play lacrosse, Rory.
Yeah, she is.
So I'm trying to get what your ask is about presenting the enhanced field. Did you feel like we weren't going to go for that turf thing? Or I'm just
Oh,
curious.
no, I had no presumptions other
Okay.
than coming here and asking to submit to the RIDE Design Review Portal. That's all I'm looking for.
Okay. I mean, I didn't think we wouldn't have synthetic turf. I'm actually happy that we are. I think it's a better product.
All right, so you'll come to us at a subsequent meeting asking for our authorization?
Mm-hmm.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you, Phil.
Do you want to make sure they make a motion tonight to submit? Oh, we're, okay.
It's not
Perfect.
advertised as such. Are we able to take that motion up? Okay,
What was this? This was 11B.
okay. All right, that completes the presentations regarding the school building project. Thank you all, very good stuff.
Thank you.
It's now going to move us back up to new business, item E. Jamie Rabbit, come on up.
Good evening. I want to say, again, I have a relatively simple request. We have an aging plotter in our department. It's in need of immediate repair. There's 6 heads in the plotter. They're about $1,200 a piece. One is failing. We anticipate, given the age, if one is failing, others will fail. So we've been looking at replacing it. So I think time is of the essence versus putting money into an old machine to replace it, and we get more life out of a new machine. We are looking to go off of the state bid list. We're just over $25,000. We're also asking for a contingency of an additional $2,000 that will potentially allow us to buy another couple of ink sets, as well as some additional paper, and all of that will be covered under a proposed 5-year warranty.
Jamie, I've never heard a scanner referred to as a plotter.
So I would say, Canon makes a combined scanner plotter. I'm kind of old school. If you put two things together and one breaks, your machine breaks. So HP does it old school. They have a plotter that has a nested scanner, two independent pieces of equipment that come together. So that when they bid it as one plotter/scanner, but they're two independent. It literally just sits on the top of it. It's
Okay.
like racked on the top. So again, scanner breaks, my plotter still works. Plotter breaks, my scanner still works. So we don't go down with one machine.
All right. Any questions for Jamie on this?
So
Go ahead.
I'm happy to agree with this. I think it's a good purchase, but can you just tell me how old the current plotter/scanner?
It's a little over 8 years.
8 years?
Yes.
So you think this can last
We would hope it would.
5 to 8?
Yeah, and again, in years 7, 8, we'd start looking at capital programs for replacement.
Sounds good. Motion to approve item 10E.
Second. All right, we got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes.
Thank you for your
Jamie.
support.
It's going to bring us back to the town manager's report. Jim?
Thank you. Two more updates. The first one is on the rental registration program. We are up to, as of today, 622 applications for signing up for the rental registration. We have until March 31st. We've been putting it on social media. We do get people continually walking in on a day-to-day basis, and the staff, I'd like to commend them. In the building inspector's office, they spend a large amount of time walking people through how to apply, and they actually do it for them on the computers, the terminals that are there. I don't know what the exact number will be. It'll be, I would expect at least a couple hundred more to come in by the 31st, but I'll update you as the time gets closer. We did B already. C is, Councilmember Bergner had requested an update on the Narragansett housing initiatives that they did at their meeting, and we gave a brief update 2 meetings ago, and we were prepared for the last meeting, but that was a blizzard, so we had to cancel that. But Brian Wagner and Jamie are here they've done some more work on it. On a side note, I have talked to the town manager on a couple occasions about this. I'll just give you a brief overview. Although money has been allotted through the Narragansett Town Council at $3 million in a bond, they have not made any decisive plans on how they are going to initiate this program, whether it's purchasing housing, that amount to help people that need affordable housing, or supplement the rent paid to the owner in a totally different type program, but nothing has been solidified. These are just concepts that the council, their town council, has presented. So I'll turn it over to Brian right now.
Good evening. So I ran this down. I did have a conversation last week with one of the founders of the Placemate.com, which has spearheaded this Lease to Locals program. She went through it. It's something that evolved out of the end of COVID and has become more and more popular. It's in place in a variety of different resort communities, both in ski towns in the Mountain West and out in Cape Cod. It has had some success, but it is costly. The plans for Narragansett, at least preliminarily, was to spend money out of their $3 million bond fund. Based on my discussions, their initial fee for Placemate to administer the program is $3,750 a month, and that will cover 10 units. If you increase the number of units, the monthly administration fee will go up. So that's one fee that we would have to bear. The other fee would be any financial incentives that we offer to landlords to participate in the program. That could easily be another $100,000, looking at the average costs, incentives that have been used out in Provincetown. That being said, It's a very flexible system. You can manage the incentives you want to offer. I don't even think they would necessarily need to be cash incentives. You could offer them tax breaks. You could offer them anything of value, because there are some communities out there that don't offer incentives at all. All they want is to create a registry of 12-month rentals, so they just run the system at market rate. But, you know, by my calculations, you're looking at $200,000 a year in incentives and administrative fees. Their recommendation is that you budget at least 2 years, so that's $400,000. And in the end, I'm not sure what you get out of it after you've invested in the program. She did say that it appears from their data that landlords, once they get used to the 12-month rental scheme, they start to realize, hey, I'm not paying to clean my rooms every 2 or 3 nights, and it's a lot less hassle and expense than short-term renters, and that a lot of those landlords will stay in the long-term renting even after they're out of the program. I'll have to take her on faith at that's actually happening. But I think until we've identified a source of funding that would support this, I think it might be a better move to sit back and see what happens in Narragansett. If it falls flat on its face, we're not exposed in any way. If it's wildly successful, then now we have something to blueprint our effort out of. The other thing to consider is most of the towns that have been doing this long-term fund it through some sort of tax program. There is something that we don't have here in Rhode Island called a local option tax that some communities use. It's sort of an excise tax on whether it's hotels or short-term rentals or whatever. No matter how you describe it, it's something that you would need special legislative approval in order to do that. If Narragansett's program is successful, they will obviously be looking for long-term funds. We could, jump on the bandwagon, also pursue whatever legislative approval we need for them. And Placemate did say that communities that cooperate within the same geographic area can negotiate a reduction in their prices. So I think it may be best advised to sort of sit and wait and see how things go. Are there any questions?
Thank you,
I
Brian.
agree with you, Brian. Thank you for that.
So I agree too. I just want to say that we do have a source of funding. I don't want to do this now, but there is the real estate conveyance. We're shifting to the affordable housing fund. I'm not saying that we're doing that, but that's a source where we're already getting real estate conveyance, and we used to do 50% open space and 50% affordable housing. We shifted all to affordable housing. There could be some drip that way.
I can understand why Narragansett might want to do this with that $3 million bucket there, particularly if people have, tons of properties that they rent out. It's a great way for somebody to become enriched with the taxpayers' dollars. But to me, I think it sounds like a terrible idea.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe like Provincetown, that's a totally different place, but this is just like bad. I don't like this at all. I would not be in favor of this. It sounds terrible.
All right. Thank you, Brian.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Brian, thank you for the memo. That was very helpful with all the work that you did on this. You
You're very
explained
welcome.
it very well.
Yeah, thank you for that memo. It was really clear after reading it. I mean, I had a clear feeling about it.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
There's just two other real quick ones that are not on here, but they came up today before, after this was posted. One, I'm happy to report the EMS station, our new EMS station in Perryville. We plan on having, it's tentative right now, even though we put the date out there, a dedication on April 13th. Although we put the time at noontime, we're going to have to back that up early, and we're waiting to hear from Senator Reed's office on the exact time, that because he flies back to Washington on Mondays. But I'm happy to report that this came in on time, on budget, and we're looking forward to dedicating that facility in the very near future, within 4 weeks. The other item is on this Thursday, and I sent the town council an email on it. Congressman Magaziner is announcing some of his earmark grants that the town and South Kingston Housing Authority will be getting, and he'll be coming down personally on Thursday to announce an $850,000 grant to the South Kingstown Housing Authority at Champaign Heights to open, to help facilitate a new community house that they will be opening up for the residents there. And also, we also received a $250,000 grant for beach erosion through Congressman Magaziner's office. Senator Reed has his earmarks are in. We got them, but I can't release them yet. I'm going to wait, obviously, for Senator Reed to release them. But I will say that two, one is substantially really going to make an impact on this town. I think everyone will be very pleased with it. And the other one will also help our EMS center, but he'll be announcing those in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. All right, it's now going to move us back to public comment. Anyone in the audience who hasn't spoken and wishes to speak, I invite you to come on up. Bob, if you can keep it quick, come on up.
I forgot one thing. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you got to come up here, though.
The public can't hear you, Bob.
What a statement that is. I meant to mention, I left a little early. That's what's dangerous. See, I stayed, well, there's still some people here. I heard at the meeting a proposal was made to sort of try to form some kind of a youth advisory group, and I heard that it wasn't seconded by anybody on the council. I just want to say that I regret that. That's all.
All right, thank you, Bob. Okay, we're now going to move on to communications. Item A is a resolution adopted January 29, 2026 by the Tiverton Town Council requesting the General Assembly reinstate required findings for denial in the Low and Moderate Income Housing Act and to enact a law providing that for purposes of calculating a municipality's progress toward the 10% affordable housing goal, affordable units shall be counted at the issuance of a building permit related to low and moderate income housing as requested by Council Member Bergner.
Yeah.
Deb, what do we got here?
So I just wanted to have a conversation with the council regarding this. I'm sure that you're paying attention to people's feelings about the changes in the land use laws and the impact it can have on every community. I think the big takeaway for me is one size doesn't fit all. Every community cannot have the same set of regulations because they all impact it differently. So Tiverton has taken up to address some of those challenges, and I didn't know if you had a chance, like I had said at the special meeting, if you had watched Andy Teitz's presentation of the land use, you could learn a little bit about some of the changes, but then this is about the motion, I don't know, requirements to denial or something. I can't remember the exact wording there.
Findings for denial.
Yeah. It's to give them more standing for denial, is the way I understand it, and then also, it's where in the process, if you're making progress toward the 10%, can a planning board have the ability to deny, as I understand it? There's two laws they're trying to get?
Amy Goins, land use expert. What are we looking at here?
The counting affordable units for the community at the time the building permit is issued is something that other towns have expressed an interest in, because currently, when an affordable unit is approved by the planning board, the town doesn't get credit for it until that unit is issued a certificate of occupancy, and further, until it's been certified as a qualifying affordable unit by Rhode Island Housing, which typically is well after a building permit is issued. So I understand the thinking behind this idea as giving the town credit for affordable units sooner than would otherwise take place under the current status. Reinstituting required findings for denial. The Low and Moderate Income Housing Act, which governs review and approval of comprehensive permit applications, used to have a set of findings for approval and a separate set of permissible reasons for denial. A couple years ago, when the act was overhauled, the required findings for denial were eliminated. Now there's just a set of findings for approval. And if those aren't met, if all of them aren't met, that's a reason to deny an application. The idea behind this bill, or this resolution, which is really about two ideas in one, is I think giving a little bit more local control and a little bit more leeway for towns that have affordable units in the pipeline but haven't come online yet.
Thank you, Amy. So what do we think?
My question would be about the 2030 housing. I know that the 10% threshold is sort of what we're talking about here, but there's a separate housing study for 2030 goals, and we're sort of already met those goals according to, I think, the units that we have in the pipeline. I guess maybe I'm just too confused about the 10%, and there seems to be like different standards. You got, the 2030 housing goals, and then you have the 10%, which people say like the math is never gonna math. But when we have like this project out in West Kingston that's gonna do 30% affordable units, how does this all fit together? That's where I'm confused.
I think the key consideration for the town, and really the metric that the state uses and the metric that matters under the law, is, has the town hit 10%, yes or no? And there's a handful of municipalities, let me just ballpark and say 7 or 8, that have hit that threshold. Once you hit that threshold, if you have an inclusionary zoning ordinance, those are the two boxes that have to be checked. Comprehensive permits would no longer be available in the city or town. Although there is legislation in this year's housing package that would allow municipalities to accept comp permit applications, even if they have hit the 10% goal and have inclusionary zoning in place. So I think even if the town has been making progress, we haven't hit the 10% yet. We're still in the bucket of municipalities that have to accept comprehensive permit applications.
The way that I understand what Andy Tite said was that even if a community has met the 10%, for-profit developers still can go for a comprehensive permit. I'm pretty sure that's what he said. No?
I don't know what he said, but I'll tell you what the law is. If you have hit if the municipality has hit the 10% and has inclusionary zoning in place, the comp permit procedure is not available under current law.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President.
So
I'm looking at the bottom two of the resolution, which is reinstate the required findings for denial, and that to join in the request to have the General Assembly enact legislation to require the required findings. And to count affordable units when a building permit is issued. Right, that's the important key there. Right.
That's the most important thing.
So I think that I have interest in us sending a proclamation. I think we would need to clean it up to have a South Kingstown version. Well, we would, because if you look at it, it says,
We don't have to write our own, we can just.
well, I'm just saying, whereas the Tiverton Planning Department currently has 5 comprehensive permit applications, we can't copy and paste all that. Like, we have to put our spin on it, right? Is everybody else looking at this?
I'm not asking for a resolution, I'm just asking to support their resolution.
Oh, okay.
I'm not
Well,
asking.
if we want to support the bill, we should pass a resolution in support of it. The question is whether we support it. I think we can all certainly get on board with at least half of it, which is to count certain housing toward the 10% at an earlier stage.
Correct.
No doubt we should support that.
And I wanted to finish my thought real quick,
Go
because
ahead.
it's on the same page. I would like that, if before we put a proclamation together, I think we should reach out to our state representatives and senators and see how they feel about it, because they carry the water for us up in Providence. And I think we should let them know that we do have at least half agreement on this resolution, right? And see what the best strategy is for us to get this done, because qualifying affordable housing units, when the building permit will allow us to look at stopping more overgrowth of it, like you're saying.
It's not the first one, it'll be when the 5th one comes, people will be like, why didn't you do anything? Because we didn't try to advocate for change, right? There are hundreds of units that Patty is discussing, right? There's the Commons, there's West Kingston, there's wherever. But those don't count, so those aren't, so next project comes through, like we talk about, the planning board can't say, we already have this coming through in comprehensive permits, so we're gonna hold off, or we're gonna deny this, or we're gonna have you reduce your scope or scale.
I hear what you're saying, and I think it's a good idea to count the affordable housing units earlier. I would concur with you.
I think the requirements to denial, I think is a micro piece for the planning board.
Yeah, I mean, if what this town council has been trying to do, which is build more affordable housing units, goes through, and the other affordable housing units that go through that from the private sector, I think we're going to be able to hopefully meet our benchmarks if we change it to when the building permit is issued.
So, what would you like to do?
Any other thoughts on this? I mean, I don't know what the enumerated reasons for denial that were in the prior statute even say or allow for. So it's hard for me to just sort of want to move towards supporting a bill that includes that. I can definitely get on board with having certain housing count toward the 10% at an earlier stage. I think that helps us. As to the other part, that may be sort of counterintuitive in that, like, we're making progress toward affordable housing, although it may be through comprehensive permit process. If we now support a bill that allows for or enumerates certain reasons for comprehensive permit process denial, that may sort of backlash and not sort of stunt the progress. So I'm not sure what's in there. Perhaps maybe we could be sent the statute, review it, and talk about it subsequently. Go ahead.
If I can make a suggestion, and I know, it's March, we're in the legislative session, but if this can wait till the next meeting, I believe this resolution doesn't really refer to specific legislation, but I think legislation to this effect may have been proposed. You could refer it to legal to look into it. I'll confer with planning as well, and then if you want to take this up again at your next meeting, I can provide that information to the council so you can be more informed.
So moved.
Thank you.
Good.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Good.
Just a quick comment, like my colleagues, the first part of this troubles me, particularly without a bill. If there's a bill that I could read and analyze, I'd feel better about it. The second part of this resolution from Tiverton for counting approved projects once it's been permitted as opposed to completed construction, I think makes sense, because as you hit that 10%, then it makes sense for the town to say, wait, we need to scale back a bit. But without more information about this required findings of denial in a specific bill, I'm not comfortable with that.
All right, we do have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
There are bills.
All in favor? Aye. All right. Thank you, Amy. It's going to bring us now to item C, a resolution adopted February 25, 2026 by the Portsmouth Town Council in support of House Bill H7224, proposing amendments to statutory small purchase limits applicable to municipal procurement, as requested by Council Vice President Mike Marin. Mike?
This was something we received an email. There is a specific bill on this one, which is H7224. It addresses standards for award of municipal contracts. Representative Fogarty, one of the local SK reps, is a co-sponsor on the bill, and it amends one particular section of the general laws that essentially updates the amounts to qualify for small purchases and essentially less strenuous regulation for municipalities who have approved particular projects. So for construction projects, if it's under $25,000 or under, it's considered a small purchase, and for anything else, $10,000 and under is considered a small purchase, which is simply more flexible for the town administration. It struck me as a good bill, and it's essentially just updating, essentially for inflation, to allow the cities and towns to contract without having to go through the usual regulation of the state.
All right. Any thoughts on this one? A motion?
Is this similar to, is this similar to the the ordinance or whatever we passed to allow expenses up to $25,000 to be approved by the town manager?
Yes, it's similar to it. As between the council and Jim's office, we've already authorized him to be able to go ahead without coming to us on every single thing. This simply allows the cities and towns not to have to follow the same rigorous regulations for major purchases at those levels.
Which could include like bidding process, things of that nature.
Correct.
All right.
Make a
Okay.
motion to support this bill.
So I can make a motion to approve item 13C and give notice to the legislators and the other cities and towns.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes. It's going to bring us to item E, an email dated March 3, 2026 from Representative Teresa Tanzi concerning a request for a resolution in support of House Bill H8010, authorizing the business located at 349 Main Street, Wakefield, to have liquor service within 200 feet proximity of a church. All right, this one seems pretty straightforward. And just to clarify, this is the new hotel that's coming on?
Yeah, they're looking to have a small bar in their lobby, and because they're within the 200 feet, they have to get enabling legislation.
Got it. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve item 13E. I'm sorry, they're not.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes. That's now going to bring us to the end here.
Motion to
Motion to
adjourn.
adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. We have a second. Any discussion? Are we sure about this?
Yes.
All in favor? Aye. All right, this meeting is over. See you next time.